mic suspender, of course. So, after realizing how much of a disaster the past video's quality was, I've been doing research on how to improve the way I do my recording, and I ended up being way more invested in the topic than I thought I was going to be, which resulted in me making this video that originally wasn't in my YouTube videos roadmap. As the first step, I decided to buy a phone with an actually good camera, but also fits my budget of under 400 bucks. And after consulting with the internet, I was faced with two choices: the Samsung Galaxy A53 or this one, the Realme 9 Pro Plus. And yeah, obviously I chose the Realme phone, hence I'm holding it right now. As for the reason, well, I already own several Samsung devices, and I ain't no Samsung fanboy. But not only that, there are more that I'll talk about later in this video. Hi, I'm Etanon, and this is the unboxing and review of the Realme 9 Pro Plus. So they have the yellow and black theme with the box, despite no phone with that color. What is this, brand's color or something? The box tucked tightly into the lid without any visible guide to help open it, so we need some shaky action here. Here we go. We first hit with the welcome to Realme family, which is probably the SIM tray picking. What the freaking cat disrupts my YouTube video making time. The yellow box is probably the SIM tray pick holder. Let's embrace a new journey. More corporation crap. And then here's the phone itself. They do include a charger. Seems like they haven't followed bigger brand steps. That's good. And ain't that a brick? Apparently this phone uses some proprietary charging technology, so it makes sense they include the charger. Now let's see what's in the yellow box. What's in the box? And it is in this SIM eject tool holder. And beside that is a clear plastic case. And also some kind of tutorial, which I'm not gonna read because I'm gamer like that. I'll use this case though, until I got another cheap one on the internet. And here comes the phone. This one has a pretty cool 3D design on the rear panel. It looks almost like a shark fin in the middle, but it is actually flat to the touch. This one I bought is blue, which is also the color I saw the most when I googled the phone. There's another two color options, Aurora Green and Midnight Black. They look cool too, but both are pretty low profile compared to the Sunrise Blue. This color really complements the 3D effect, and it goes well with the shark fin thing they have here. And that's it. Besides the huge charger, there's nothing special with the unboxing of this phone. Let's get to the review. The Realme 9 Pro Plus has a pretty nice build as expected from a mid-range phone nowadays. It has Gorilla Glass 5 in the front and a photochromic glass panel on the back, which shifts the blue to pink orange when exposed to sunlight. Damn, seems like I won't be able to see it in action. Now, as I have said, I only got this phone because of its camera, so other specs of it are kind of whatever to me. But that doesn't mean that they aren't good. The Realme 9 Pro Plus is a pretty well-rounded phone. In fact, take for example the display. It has a Super AMOLED screen, which is pretty standard for mid-range phones these days. At a Full HD resolution, it may not be up there with the UHD screen of the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus, which I'll keep mentioning since I bought them at roughly the same price. But 2400 to 1080 pixels certainly is sharp enough on a 6.4 inches display. And moreover, the screen refreshes at 90 Hz, which, while not quite 120 Hz, but still higher than the Note 10 Plus 60 Hz screen. It does add a layer of fluidity and does not put much strain on the battery. For media consumption, I may prefer the Note though, since the Realme one doesn't support HDR playback. Speaking of battery, the Realme 9 Pro Plus has a very respectable 4500 mAh battery. It should easily last you 2 days at normal use. A long-lasting battery certainly helps with long recording sessions, and when it runs low, the included 60-watt charger brick can take it back to 100% in mere 40 minutes. Apparently, this phone uses what's called Super Fast Charge technology, which is only compatible with its old charger. Like this Anker charger couldn't give it sufficient wattage at all, even though it's technically also a 60-watt charger. As for performance, this phone has an octa-core chip named Dimensity 925G from MediaTek, and I heard that it performs pretty well compared to other mid-range phones. Still, you can see here that it's still a bit behind the Qualcomm Snapdragon A55 of the old flagship Galaxy phone Note 10 Plus in terms of multi-core processing, which is great news. I mean, I've just bought the Galaxy Note recently, and at the same price of $350. It would be really hard to justify keeping it if the Realme 9 Pro Plus outperforms it in every aspect. Also, as I keep saying, I only got the Realme one for the camera, and it would be a waste if it turns out to have some crazy processing power that I'm not going to utilize. It's not too far behind though, and it actually surpasses the Note in single-core score. So great news for you who may want to use this as your daily driver. The one I bought has 8GB of RAM, which should be more than enough for any task that you may have for a phone. Depending on where you are, you may find another version with 6GB of RAM, which you should opt for if it drives the price down. There's that virtual RAM feature that should help somewhat if you're a heavy multitasker. This phone runs its own version of Android 12 called Realme UI. Very creative naming here. It's a relatively new phone, so good chance it's gonna get the Android 13 update. As for Realme UI, it's very similar to the ColorOS from the Oppo phone that I own. And by very similar, I mean they're basically the same. From how they handle multitasking to the prompt when they connected to my PC. This really reminds me of the fact that most of those Chinese phone brands are actually all under the Oppo mother company. Why do they need to have different versions of this OS anyway? I mean, come on. We already know you're on just Oppo at this point. Why even bother? Now for the main selling part of this phone, the camera. The Realme 9 Pro Plus has a triple camera setup with a primary 50-megapixel camera using Sony IMX766 sensor, which is the same sensor in some pricier flagship phones. The others are the 8-megapixel ultra-wide lens and the 2-megapixel macro camera. The front camera is 16 megapixel, and both the rear and the selfie camera support zero EIS. Coupled with the OIS technology, you'll never have to worry about shaky hands while taking pictures anymore. As for how I'm using the phone as my recording camera, I'll talk about it in depth in a future video. The image quality of the pictures taken by the 50-megapixel main camera is great, with plenty of details, lots of color, and wide dynamic range. According to other reviews, since I don't really leave my room to take sample pictures. I can testify to how well it's doing in a low light environment though. At least it's the best out of all the phones I've owned. The cameras alone aren't the reason I settled with this phone though. As I mentioned before, it's between this one and the Samsung Galaxy A53. The Samsung phone also has an impressive quad camera setup with 64 megapixel main camera, better telephoto and ultra-wide lens, and higher resolution for the selfie camera. But I decided to go for the Realme phone because, well, besides it's cheaper, it's because this one has a 3.5mm headphone jack. That means I can use my external mic for better recording. I guess I can just use an USB-C to 3.5mm hub for the Samsung phone, but in my experience, the more you put between the mic and the phone, the more points in which the audio quality is going to decrease. Also, it's a significant additional cost if you want an actual usable hub. There's one big weak point though. This phone only has 128GB of storage, and no option to expand it further with an SD card. And that's a bummer for a phone mainly used for recording. I only use it in my room, so it's not so bad. But for someone else who plans to go outside for a long time, that can be a problem. For the final words, by the time I finish recording this video, Xiaomi just has released the new Redmi Phone 12 series, and they all have the same or even better camera sensor and at lower price than what I got the Realme 9 Pro Plus for. So that's kinda sucks for me. You might want to hold off for a while until the global version of the Redmi phones are available, and by then, the price of this Realme phone may have lowered too. But if you're in need of a well-rounded mid-range phone with a good camera and a sleek rear panel design, and it is available right now, I say you can just go for it. Now you may say, well, Metanon, your video still looks like shit. And that's true. I'm still using the Oppo phone for recording this video since I need the Realme phone to be on camera. Let's see if it's getting better in the next video. Thank you for watching, and remember to click like and subscribe to the channel. See ya.